Oh, ooh, I don't have my light on. That's a little embarrassing. Hey, everybody. It's the afternoon on a Sunday. Welcome. I am just doing a little bit of, let's see here. I need to refresh this page over here, I think. Let's try that out. And my little chats aren't entirely working. Like I'm looking over at my live captions. Those are kind of waiting right now. My mic is working. My caption service not working currently. That's everything just seems a little bit broken right now. You know what? I'm gonna have to restart my social bridge, I think, which might break a whole bunch of stuff. But I think it's what we got to do because everything just kind of locked up on me here. Can't get my logs. Can't get anything else. Our music had to stop. So sad about that. I can get that working at the very least in the background. But I certainly need to get this going here. So we're just going to kind of break some stuff and then fix it up real quick. If you're keen on holding on for a moment, I need to end my Python tasks. Everything breaking, browser's not working. Oh my gosh. You're right. It's all broken. I know. What happened? Well, you know, what happened is I shut it down. I shut it all down. Hey, there we go. Let's refresh that. Refresh those. Bad gateway. Let's refresh that if we can. Where are you? Hey, I see it now. And my transcripts. Why are you way down there? Hello, transcripts. Which one are you? This one? Closed captions. That's what I called it. I'm gonna move you way up here on this chat view because that was way in the way, you know? And then I've got all these other pages out here. Let's see my social bridge alerts. I'm gonna need to refresh those just in case. Twitch alerts, let's refresh that. All the other stuff seemed to be just fine. Let's go to the co-working session and let's refresh the shoutouts as well. That should be okay now. Over on the vertical as well, just in case, right? Because we've got a lot of little browser sources that are dependent on my social bridge, and when that social bridge breaks, well, lordy, everything just kind of doesn't fall into place. But we're here, we're live, we have a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna do some Pandas talking games editing today. It should be a good one. We've got, what is the title of this? Splitting the Party is the episode. It is going to be all about what do you need to do when you need to split the party in your TTRPGs. Because there is definitely a time and place for it. Everybody says, you know, never split the party because that's the most dangerous. Plus, you know, it splits the story and blah, blah, blah. But we've seen a lot of like successful actual plays. We've seen a lot of like in-game, in-person games and stuff like that, that split the party just fine. And depends on the size of the group, depends on the adventure, depends on the vibe of everything, but it's pretty easy to do. I have a lot of thoughts about this. Especially if you're splitting the party in social situations. Like, you can have your other characters or other players that aren't playing their characters play NPCs in the scene, and the Pandas talked about that previously as well. So I'm very curious what the Pandas are going to be talking about with that. In order to get to all of that, I want to have my social bridge kind of take over the music. It's going to get a little loud right away. And let's just make sure it's all in sync here so we can actually, like, you know, function properly. I think we're working now. So I noticed on my stream last night, after the stream, some wild stuff broke on my social bridge, and I wanted to fix it, but I didn't have time today because I took a little time for myself. I was talking to Tatsu Chat here on the Twitch. Tatsu is another streamer. She's been doing a lot of Subnautica lately, and just was talking about my day and how I had the house to myself. And she said, you know what? Take some time for yourself. Do something for yourself instead of doing something productive. And you know what? I did. I took a bike ride. It was nice. A nice 40-ish minute bike ride through my neighborhood, through the nearby park. A little bit over 8 miles. Wasn't too bad. And I feel great about that. I'm really happy how I'm doing with my bike riding. My legs are a little sore, but you know what? They're not that bad. And it gave me like 5 extra points on my Weight Watchers, so I'm not going to complain at all about that. For now, let's dive into some podcast editing, shall we? I need to pull up. Let's see. I'm going to go vertical over on my Twitch preview just so I can see kind of everything all at once pretty easily, because I got the windows squished a little bit over there, right? We're going to pull in the actual audio now. I'm going to pull this over so I can actually see it all in action. I am glad that my transcripts are working. I'm glad that things are seeming okay. Looking forward to other folks potentially popping in and saying hi, because that is what I love to see. See a lot of activity over on the TikToks. So welcome, folks from the TikTok land. We're about to do some live podcast editing, starting with the opener outtakes as usual. And then we'll have some music on in the background. So if you want to get some chill music vibes while listening to the pandas talk and me talk on top of them sometimes, feel free to stick around.
Yeah.
Clicky, clicky.
Senda's audio is not great this one because she keeps forgetting to look at the
All right,
input
hello, Ryan.
source.
How's
Hi,
you?
Ryan.
Oh, time to turn off the fan.
Oh, and I double clicked instead of hitting
Turn on
the delete button.
I have it up pretty high, so it's okay. I don't think it's super hot out yet, but
It is.
I just needed to be cooled off because I had finished my house cleaning. So
it's already 94 here.
94.
That's too hot. You're 2
It's
hours in the you're 2 hours in the past, and it's that hot.
Ugh.
I think it's only 80 here.
It was so sticky yesterday.
We're not at the top yet. It's gonna keep getting hotter by at least another 4 degrees.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's supposed to be like mid 90s here as well.
Anything else
Today, at least.
on your mind? In your thoughts?
I have a song related to today's episode stuck in my head that I saw once on YouTube a really long time ago and don't remember anything except the one phrase from. So I'm going to try to hold it in, but I don't know if I will succeed.
Good job.
Just so that we're clear.
Yep.
I make no promises.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. I need to grab the bloop sound effect. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the pandas audio files and pull that bloop right in here so we can have a nice little break.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm good. Let's align audio.
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Aligning the audio. I didn't mean to do that. That's fine. I just wanted to blast that away first and pull in another bloop. And then what do we got here?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
What was that, Senda? Oh my goodness. Big stretch, I imagine. That's fine. All right, this is the opener here. Opener.
Hey, Senda.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, I need to guest host on a show this week. So I was thinking, what if you hosted this show and then I went off and guest hosted the other show?
Wait, like, so just me by myself.
Well, we need this show covered, but also
Yes.
we need the other show covered.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. Are you saying we're going to split the podcast?
Uh-oh. Is that not a good thing? Cue music.
Oh boy. Cue music. We got the music marker here. Doot doot.
And
Well, that was a very small Yarn Macabre. Welcome. I am having a great weekend. I hope you're having a great weekend as well. It is quite an unusual weekend for me, honestly. We had a 50-year anniversary celebration of my aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary just yesterday. Whoa, I didn't mean to copy just a little bit. A lot of good food. Hadn't seen that side of the family in like 3 years since my grandma's funeral. It was wild. Yeah, a huge milestone. And they were always the ones that were a little contentious with one another, but still had that love. And I think a little bit of spice is fine to have. A little bit of saltiness towards one another is okay, as long as that love is still there. It was sweet. It was nice. Had a lot of good times out there. A lot of good food. My cousins, a couple of my cousins are really big into health foods, low fat and low sodium, and everybody's got something that they're trying to avoid. So there was a whole smorgasbord of stuff that I could feel guiltless about just kind of stuffing myself with, and it was fantastic. And then I had some cupcakes because, of course, I'm going to have cupcakes. They were delicious. How's your weekend going? I am putting the intro in here while getting that going. And then we're going to... Whoa, that's the wrong button. S. That's what I want, not A. Pull that over. And get this start marker there. Lovely.
And welcome to another fine episode of Panda's Talking Games. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Phil.
You do have to combat the low-calorie stuff with something sweet. Absolutely. But, I mean, it was really good low-calorie stuff, right? Shifty, welcome. How are you? Lovely to see you again.
And I'm your other host, Senda. And today's question comes to us from Michael in our Slack channel instance. What is it called again? Slack. In our Slack. Leave it at that.
Smooth.
Oh boy, it's going to be a great show today, friends.
You know what? I think this will be an outtake right here.
Go. Okay, anyway. Michael specifically asked us, what do you do when splitting the party is the correct idea in a traditional game?
Hopefully you do feel
game,
better
right?
soon, though.
So he specifically said, I usually play games where splitting the party, even if... What?
What?
Okay, sorry. Trying again. I
used to get a ton of headaches before I got my CPAP. Now I only get the occasional tension headache. So hot over there makes you lazy? No, I get that. It's hot here too, mid-90s today. Aunt and cousins had a barbecue pool party. That sounds cool. But just popped into the Discord stream and said cheers. Wonderful. Yeah, I hope your headache goes away soon, Shifty. Headaches are never fun.
usually play games where...
Okay, so I need to clean this up.
So he specifically said, I usually
play, and this is... I usually play... Okay, so...
In a traditional... So he specifically said, I usually...
Right here is where we need to cut. And then we're just going to kind of mash this all together and kind of avoid an outtake there because the other stuff was funny enough to leave in.
Game, right. So he specifically said, I usually play games where splitting the party, if there's even a party, is common and often necessary. Now I'm playing old school 90s scenarios / modules, and they're kind of linear. I'm cutting out a bit of exposition here from Michael, just basically describing the situation.
Yeah, so hopefully the treatment helps. I know, is it like migraine level headache, or is it just like just a bad headache sort of deal? I guess I don't even know what the difference is entirely. I guess migraines come along with like the sensory stuff as well, with the light sensitivity and sound sensitivity and stuff. I used to always get like my headphones bugged me when I had migraines like that, so it was hard to kind of function on a day job that required me to have my headphones on.
That he's recently been in, where there was a red herring with two potential paths. They had to make a whole party decision to follow one of those paths and ended up choosing the wrong one. With the end actual question, how do you deal with not splitting the party when splitting the party would be the sensible thing to do in that scenario?
No.
So we're going to talk about splitting the party. Because
hopefully,
if you have been a gamer for any length of time, you have definitely heard the phrase never split the party or don't split the party, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hope it helps because I am going to be keeping you in my mind and thoughts to keep my fingers crossed to make sure that everything works out in your favor.
Yes.
But how true is that phrase?
How true is it, and how accurate is it still?
Yeah, surprise. Much like things that came from the dawn of gaming, it's changed over time.
It has changed.
Yes.
So let's talk about a little bit of history, right? So I'm old. I grew up in the golden age of D&D, where never split the party was definitely a thing forged in those days, right? That's not to say people didn't split the party; people did, but the early days of gaming is like where this comes from, and it comes from old D&D advice, right?
The challenge
passed
advice,
down
right?
through Dragon magazines and stuff. Because remember, children's, there was no internet back then, right?
Not a problem. Shifty, have an excellent rest of your day. Hopefully it is not too troublesome with that headache, but have a good afternoon. Hopefully we'll see you later.
Yes.
So in order for groups to communicate with each other, especially if you weren't going to a convention, Dragon Magazine was your way to go. And split the party. So let's back up, right? Let's talk about, let's just mechanically talk about splitting the party, right? So in a traditional game, and we'll just use D&D as an example here, no addition, just D&D.
Yep.
In a traditional game, you have a party, right? So a group of people.
Yes.
Most traditional games, not all, have niches in the form of classes, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're using our generic D&D, we have classes, fighter, cleric, rogue, wizard, mage, whatever the fuck they call them from.
So what I do is any ums and uhs that are like kind of floating and separated from the rest of the waveforms, I'll cut those out to keep the flow of conversation a little bit more well, it's almost less natural feeling, but also more natural feeling at the same time. It's less distracting when there's less ums and uhs in a row. I leave some of them because it's been proven that your brain holds on to more when you're listening to podcasts that have some ums and uhs in it. But like when it's like multiple in a row or whatever, it gets a little annoying. So I like to make it sound a little bit better. Yeah.
Mage, whatever the fuck they call them from version to version, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Okay. And each one of those niches have special abilities. Wizards have, spells that go boom. And importantly, clerics have, healing spells to make the ouchies go away or the dead come back to life in extreme cases, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I do is sometimes I'll shorten the gaps and sometimes I'll actually just leave the gaps. And then what I do at the end, once I export the audio as a whole, I run a thing that gets rid of all of the little bit of a better tightening. So like anything that's a silence gap over 0.6 seconds gets shortened down to 0.6 seconds. So like if this were an and I would just get rid of it completely, we're looking at like a 1.3 second duration. So this gap between here would get shortened down to 0.6 seconds. And I define the silence as like anything less than, negative 45 decibels, I think it is. Oh, hey, what is that? TT Zont something MVP, FL Studio? No, this is Adobe Audition that I'm utilizing. I got some folks over on the TikToks joining in the chat, but not showing up in my social bridge, which is one of those things that I need to get fixed for some reason.
And Thief does stuff, Fighter does stuff. Okay. So the origin of this phrase, right, comes from, like, if you think back to the early days of D&D, if you are in a dungeon and you split the party, and most parties weren't big enough to have multiple copies of the same niche, right? So you might send the fighter and mage down one passage and the thief and cleric down the other. Mm-hmm. But now if the fighter and mage get jacked up in a bad combat, they have no healing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right? Because the cleric, he's down the other passage, with the rogue. And so, what happened in old D&D, right, is like, if you don't have potions or something like that, you get in trouble.
You need the potions.
You're in trouble. And parties could get wiped out, right? Because especially in those early days of D&D where encounters weren't always balanced and there weren't CRs and stuff like that, you could walk into some real shit and be down. Like, you might walk into a pack of, goblins, but you don't have your fighter with any area spells.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now, you're like, your fighter's like, well, I can attack, but only once.
Yep.
Right.
Until a certain moment. Yeah.
There's like 50 of them and they're just going to keep coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I will say even more modern versions of D&D with challenge ratings and stuff, right? And I think for other traditional games, there's an assumption that you have a certain number of these niches covered and available to you in a fight, right? Like, that's what the challenge rating is based on.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if you go into that fight and you don't actually have your whole party, the challenge rating is now meaningless because it isn't actually the right challenge rating for only, say, the rogue and the mage versus like the whole party.
Now, if this sounds vaguely familiar, this is not unlike What If Somebody Can't Come to the Game.
It is.
Right? Because again, we're just talking about access to certain character resources.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, once you get used to how the waveforms look, you can kind of see what ums and uhs are coming up and predict them. That's why you'll see me highlighting things ahead of time, and as soon as I know it's an or I delete it. And then other times I will just miss them until I get to them because, I'm paying attention to something else.
Yep. So it's actually not terribly different than if the character who's playing the cleric doesn't come to the game. What do you do?
Yeah. How do you cover for that niche?
Correct.
We end up talking about the cleric a lot because realistically, that's one of the roles that you really gotta.
Well, let's talk about it mechanically. The reason we talk about the cleric a lot is because games like D&D use attrition, right? The wearing down of points to win encounters, right?
Yeah.
So the one who runs out of hit points first loses. Correct. The cleric is a character that adds hit points to one side, right?
Yes.
So the lack of a cleric doesn't mean you can't win a fight. It means that if you fall behind in the attrition and can't catch up, you will be run out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cleric winds up becoming really important in that, just for that. But to my point about like the crowd of goblins, a low-level party can get overrun by a crowd of low-level creatures. The wizard is kind of the leveling factor there because they have area spells, right? A good sleep spell could wipe out half of that, half that goblin group and make the rest of it a pretty easy cleanup.
Right. Or if you're high enough level, fireball takes care of the whole room.
There you go. Right?
In
Exactly.
one go, right?
Or at least softens all of the, takes out all the minors, softens the majors, lets the rest of them get in. Okay. So that don't split the party is it is about party resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? It is about losing access to the party resources by dividing the party into sub-parties.
Now, the interesting thing is that mostly applies to games that have that sort of challenge mechanism, right? Like a lot of combat games, combat-heavy games like Dungeons & Dragons are going to have a lot of the challenge balances. The game is more balanced for having multiple people in multiple roles. But once you start getting into the narrative games, we're talking like anything in the PBTA, the Powered by the Apocalypse set of games, or a lot of games that are out there where it really doesn't matter, like, because the damage is more nebulous than I take X hit points, and when I'm down to 0, I'm done. You can kind of skew those. Like, you can even do one person can handle a whole group of goons or whatever, or even a big boss solo, if it's narratively appropriate to do so, which is really exciting. So yeah, the mileage may vary very much depending on the game.
Yes.
Okay. Now, modern games don't exactly always have this problem, right? So first of all, you'll know if your game has the party resource issue, if you have niches, if your game acts primarily through attrition, and that there's no way, like, it takes one niche to recover people, right? Yeah. To restock points. Switch to like a superhero game.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? And splitting a Justice League into a couple groups to do stuff probably isn't that bad. They don't have niches, they have specialties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the game isn't made to, most superhero games are not made to have specific types of heroes, right? Heroes wind up having powers that give them some sort of specialty, and some of them fall into roles, blasters, controllers, that kind of thing, similar to, some of the D&D tropes. But it's not like, you have to have first level Paragon and you have to have a Paragon, a Speedster, a Mentalist kind of thing to be a Justice League, right? Like, you just have some superheroes.
Yeah.
And
true.
Right. And if your game recovers whatever attrition through scenes, other means, whatever, then suddenly, and you'll know this because if you don't need a healer, right?
Yeah. That's, yep.
Then you probably don't need to worry about splitting the party in terms of party resources.
Yeah.
Okay. That is, that's why a lot of modern games, especially then when you get into like the PBTAs and
let's see, I want to clean that up a little bit here.
That's why a lot of modern,
maybe even a little bit more.
That's why a lot of modern games, especially then when you get into like the PBTAs and things like that.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the PBTAs that I play, they're not only do they not care if you've split the party.
Yeah,
almost encourage it.
Yeah, like if you're playing Cartel, like you're never all going to be in the same place. That would actually be quite weird.
Yep. 100%.
Like you're having scenes that have, 2 to 3 people in them tops.
Yep.
But also there's no party, right? So again, we're like, this is back to the, as Michael said, if there's even a party, right? Yep. Like in modern games, the concept of party doesn't even necessarily exist. If 100%. I'm playing Pasión de las Pasiones, there is no party.
Yeah. If I'm playing Shadowrun and maybe there's a med doc, maybe there's not, maybe we all have like stim patches to recover some hit points, right? Now our party resource problem is mitigated.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the group that has the doc with them, they're probably in better shape. But the rest of like the other group, they've got some stim patches. They'll make it through 1 or 2 scenes before we all meet back up.
Right.
And that also is, by the way, the hint to how to solve the split the party problem for D&D is to like hand them off some potions and a wand of healing, like that kind of thing.
And maybe a wand that does some radius damage or something, which is why you got to split the magic users from the rogue so that the rogue can use their use magic device, right? Like, I mean, there's ways around it that have been built into more modern versions.
Okay, so let's talk. So, all right, so historically we understand where it came from.
Yeah.
Right. We understand the kind of why from the early days of D&D, right? Why you wouldn't want to do this, right? Like I shouldn't even say why you wouldn't want to do it. Why there is increased risk to survivability.
Yeah,
if you
I think that really is it, because splitting the party in old school traditional games has a reputation for that's how you get killed.
Yes. Yep. Which, you know, increased risk of losing the attrition game.
Risk of death.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So we know where it came from. We know that modern games, and even older games don't need it if they party, one, if there isn't a party. Two, if there isn't limited party resources, things like that. Yeah. So there are signs in your game where you can look at a game and be like, yep, I could totally divide this. Like, I could totally divide this party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about reasons why you would split a party.
Yeah. I mean, so the specific example that Michael gave is that his party came to a point where they were tracking someone and there were two directions that they could have gone, and they had to pick between them, right? So this is kind of a red herring situation. One of these paths was a red herring, and the other one was the real path. And if they'd been able to split the party, they would have been able to follow both. Right?
I will immediately say, without starting a whole other show, I fucking hate red herrings in role-playing games.
This is why we hate them, right? We've actually talked about red herrings specifically before.
Fucking hate red herrings in role-playing games.
Terrible.
Right there.
Right. Yeah, because now...
So Phil and Senda have been going for 10 years on this podcast, and they did have an episode about red herrings, but also about, like, don't be clever as a GM. Try not to like super outsmart your players and all that sort of stuff. And red herrings are kind of part of that, which is really interesting.
Yeah, because now his party has traveled all the way to another town and discovered they followed the wrong path, and they were for nothing, right? And they were all together as a single group because they didn't want to split the party, right?
Sucks.
Awful feeling. Hate it. Okay, but if they had been able to split the party, they would have been able to cover more ground. They would have been able to do both at the same time. Right?
So as it turns out, there
wouldn't be a wrong decision.
That's our number one reason why you would split the party is to cover more ground. So for instance, if the longer you are in a dungeon, the worse it is for you. Or like you said, you're tracking a group and they split into two groups, right? By splitting the party, you can cover more ground. We can search more rooms. We can, track somebody down, whatever, right?
Yeah, it's Forbidden Island and the water level is slowly rising. Are you all going to stay together while you try to do everything? No, you're going to split up because you have to do it faster.
In fact, you're encouraged to split up, right?
Yes.
Because you can't do everything. Okay.
You can't do it together.
Right.
Yeah.
So cover more ground. That's the first one. I mean, that's the whole Lord of the Rings. Like,
yes.
Right. Like
they don't all stay together.
We can't get everything done, right?
You can't defend Minas Tirith and throw the ring in Mount Doom at the same time if you're all together as one.
And that brings us to our second point, which is competing goals.
Yes, there may be more than one thing that you're trying to do at a time.
And they may all be equally important.
Right. You don't really want to let Minas Tirith fall.
Just by sending everybody to go throw the ring.
Everyone to do the ring, right? Like you got to have something left after.
Competing goals is a great one for superhero games.
Yeah.
So, bad guy is trying to rip apart a armored truck to get the yummy money inside, but also
delicious
in doing
money.
so, shoots a laser to knock out the support beams of a overhead monorail, and said monorail is going to go flying off its track and careening into a building.
Classic villain.
We can't all fight the bad guy or all handle the monorail, we're going to have to split up.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. So there's
Yes.
So competing goals is a great reason to split a party. And honestly, in some games is super tropey. Right?
Yeah.
Super tropey in ensemble superhero games.
Yeah, I was like, the example you just gave feels so superhero.
A lot of times the heist requires dividing the party up, because you may need like one or two people doing a distraction. You may need somebody crawling through the air vent, somebody hacking the security system, right? That's the split the party. Oh, now that we mention that, the old school cyberpunk problem, right? The guy
the hacker
the
who's
hacker
just
in the
outside
net
of everything
is a split party situation.
And then everybody else. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there's a reason for it, right? You might need to be in the Matrix to open doors and turn off alarms and all of that stuff. Okay. The last one falls, I think, a little bit more towards, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to qualify that.
Good.
There is a third reason that you might, quote, split the party. And that is games with low party cohesion.
Yeah. So this is where we kind of start getting back to the, if there's even a party.
Correct. Right? So my first taste of this was Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the players get together to do a thing.
Sometimes,
and sometimes they are off doing their own thing. Oh, also, almost the exact same time, Amber Diceless is another one where, honestly, they barely qualify for a party, right? They're related to each other. Sometimes they do shit together for a reason. But 99% of the time, they're like, fuck off. I'm off in shadow doing my own shit.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm thinking you're currently playing a game that I think probably has mid to low party cohesion.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm currently playing Rapscallion. And I would say most of the time it's mid party cohesion because we are all on the same ship most of the time. Sure. But we're not all doing the same thing. We're not all in the same places on the ship.
You're not even all in the same scenes.
Yeah, we're definitely not all in the same scenes. And I went off and spent the night on a different ship with my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So another one, what's the PBTA game? The Urban Shadows. Urban Shadows is another one, which is, again, like Vampire, where like, are you even a party, right? You may just be some related folk.
It's got the
I think Rapscallion's going to get interesting because the quest that we're on right now, not the quest, but like the storyline we're on right now, we do have a shared purpose. I think we're going to be sort of functioning as a party for a lot of this, but like it's not required. As a crew, I think I think because you're a crew of a ship, we are the crew of a ship. At the lightest, you're mid. Yes. Right? Like, because there'll be things that you're going to do that are definitely all as the crew. And then there are definitely things that are like, hey, we went to port and we all went our separate ways, like for the evening kind of thing. Yeah.
This is interesting because like when I was making my game Chimera, where you play as a group of heroes and you're blending magical girls and or fantasy and or superhero genres together, on top of potentially like a romance genre or horror or what else do I have in there? A musical. You can do a Broadway musical interpretation of a role-playing game, which is fun, or all of it together at once. The main driving force of all the characters in the party is supposed to be you're supposed to work together and you're supposed to be a cohesive group, like a superhero group or an adventuring party and whatnot. And it hadn't really occurred to me too much of like, what about like that urban fantasy sort of feel where you are kind of in disparate places in the world and you're kind of all doing separate but the same story connections together, and where the party is split most of the time. That's not a way that I normally GM. So like, that's giving me some food for thought of like, can the game support it easily? And can it be encouraged in some scenarios to do it that way? And like, what sort of mechanics would I need to add to the game to kind of facilitate that sort of stuff? Oh, thank you so much. Love the cheer. 8 bits. A little bit of dodecahedron. I don't know. 8-sided dice, I guess, falling upon us. Wonderful. Lovely. Thanks, Jan Merkaba.
Went raiding a ship, a merchant ship that we caught, and we all ran off on the ship and did different stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's good reasons, right? There are reasons to split the party. Again, you know, these these reasons come up in different games, in different stories, in different core loops, and could be even different play styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, those core loops are kind of what I was talking about. Like, what's the general vibe of turns in the game, right? Like, how does the story progress? What do your characters do generally? How do you loop around through the mechanics to like go from point A to point B to point C and then back to point A again, effectively, right? So like, we're doing a thing, we fixed a problem, we got some bonus stuff to make ourselves better and more powerful, and now we go back to the start to talk about the next issue that comes up, and then, you know, so on and so forth. Or like in Urban Shadows or something like that, you've got a lot of potential for like inter-clan conflict and like alliance forming and alliance breaking and like trying to smooth over conflicts between families and stuff like that, which is a lot of interesting potential for roleplay, right? But you also have, you know, the potential for kind of getting into like some really cool like inter-party conflict potential, and the core loops get a little bit blended together there, but it's all surrounding the characters and the character choices and the characters' families, the characters' clans and stuff. So different games will definitely have different core loops, which is really fun.
But what I guess I'm trying to get at here, right, is that I jokingly, you know, will say the old adage, right? Don't split the party. But of course you can split the party, right? And there's actually good reasons to do it in a lot of games.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, and I think I'm in a similar situation to Michael, right? Where like, to me, it's totally normal, right?
Yeah.
I actually do not expect in most of the games that I play that we are all going to be going off and doing the exact same thing in the exact same place at the exact same time.
Sure.
Like there is an assumption that like, we're all going to chase the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some potential problems, right? Like, what are potential problems? We named one at the beginning.
We did.
So I'll just name that one again, right? The first potential problem, right, is access to party resources.
Right.
If only certain people can do certain things, and you split up and you are geographically isolated, right? And there's no easy transportation like teleportation gates or anything like that, then somebody doesn't have access to some set of resources.
And that is all of them. I mean, it's really easy for us to talk about clerics in D&D, but if we stick with D&D, like having someone who can sneak or open a lock without needing magical resources, having somebody who can be your hit point sink, like tank role is kind of a big deal. And then again, like having some sort of wizard, sorcerer, or whatever that has like those area spells, or even things like light or whatever. Like there's some mushy places where you can get away with it a little bit, you know, like you can use a spell, open lock, if your rogue's off somewhere else or whatever, but you know, they're a little bit limited and they're harder to engage, right?
I mean, how do you find traps when you don't have the thief, right? With hit points.
You know, and you You might be
points.
like, we're fine. We've handed the rogue 3 wands of fireball. Off you go. But like, if we're thinking 3rd or 3/5, then, I have to roll to see if I can use that wand every time I use it. And if I fail that roll, then I didn't get to use the wand. So the spell didn't work.
Yeah, again, there's games that have strong niches often have some niche overlap, but also have decent niche protection.
Yes. Yep.
Right? Because what makes a cleric special, right?
Healing.
What if everybody could just do that?
Yeah.
Makes cleric less special.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So access to party resources, we covered that in depth. I'll give another one that I thought of because I added it while we were talking is story issues.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's say that the party does split because they're chasing down 2 people, right? Yep. But what if the story is hinged around the interaction of one of the players and one of the NPCs, but that player goes on the wrong trail.
The other direction. Yeah.
Like what if the split was meant to be like, to reveal that like, oh, the player's uncle or dad is, but now, the other party gets there and is like, I don't know, some dude. Right?
Yeah,
as opposed
some
to
guy.
Right.
Just some guy.
So there's story issues that can occur. You can sometimes as a GM prep your way into some problems, and we'll talk about because if we're going to name problems, we always name potential solutions. You can prep your way into problems when a party splits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that can just cause like logistical or logical or continuity problems within your game.
Yeah. The dramatic reveal of I'm Bob's uncle, and you're like, cool, Bob's not here. Like, just it lacks some weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Tell him his uncle.
Tell him his uncle sent the goblins or whatever. Oh, okay. Might fall a little bit flatter. Okay. The next one is also player attention. And this one I think blends into the next one that we're going to talk about as well a little bit, because both of these to me have to do with... They're on the
opposite side of the screen.
Yeah, they're 2 sides of the same coin is the preview, right? Because now we're talking about spotlight sharing. Really, because everybody's not in the same place. Well, maybe this isn't what you meant, but this is what I've been thinking about. So I'm going to talk about it, and you can talk about
it, and then I'll tell you if it's not exactly what I saw on the list. But go ahead.
Well, so here's the thing. So managing the spotlight from a player perspective, if you spend too long on somebody else, right, then you may start to lose attention from the players who are not currently engaged in the game. Yep. I was like, no, I think I'm on it. But
she's getting there.
And I can't talk about these 2 separately, so I'm just going to blend them together and let you add more to whatever. The other side of that coin is the GM cognitive load. I think there's more to this one than the player one, but part of it is now as a GM, I'm also managing spotlight, right? And it's now my job. Or I've added to my job being able to share the spotlight around fast enough and interestingly enough that the players who do not currently have the spotlight are remaining engaged and attentive. Right?
Yeah. So,
which is perfectly learnable to do as a GM, but it's not entirely natural to do that as a new GM. Like, it's a talent that you can hone to share that spotlight around in a way that A, adds to the drama and story of the game, and B, keeps your players engaged, right? It's really hard to kind of find that balance naturally. You have to kind of learn it and kind of suss out what works and what doesn't, and then over time it's a skill that becomes more natural. Like a lot of the improv that people do in RPGs, it's very hard for some folks to get into that sort of improv right away. But like the more you try, the more you practice, that improv becomes a lot more natural. And that natural improv just becomes better and better. And the more you do it, the more your brain locks in and says, I know how to do this. let me push it a little further. Now I know how to do it a little further. Let me push it a little further. And that kind of progresses with probably every system that you can think of in RPGs, which is fantastic.
They're not the same problem, but like
they arise from the same thing, but they're not the same problem, right?
Yes,
so in order to accomplish splitting the party, you must then have Spotlight. Okay.
Yes.
So the second you create Spotlight on the player side, two things happen. Somebody or somebodies are in the Spotlight.
Correct.
And somebody or somebodies are not in the Spotlight.
Right.
And depending on how well you manage Spotlight, the people and also the attention span of the people who are not in the Spotlight.
And how much they care about the rest of the story.
And how much they care about the rest of the story.
Blah, blah, blah. There's more to it, but yes.
It's complicated, but for those not in the Spotlight, attention will wane.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And again, if you are not managing your Spotlight well, then people start to drift off, right?
Yep.
Because they're like, well, this doesn't involve me. I'm going to look this up or whatever. Maybe they're being, proactive and like, hey, you know what? I'm going to just check on a couple spells, or I'm going to like look through the rules or something real quick. Other times it's like, well, let me go do a Wordle, right? Like
I'm going to check my
wait
text
till
messages.
my turn comes up. Now,
spelling bee. It has a Z in it today.
Right.
It's really
now,
hard.
if you split the party in two, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Spotlight is just A group and B group.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. Little easier to manage. If you're playing like a 5-person game of Urban Shadows, there may be 5.
Yeah, 5 spotlights.
Like the Spotlight might have to travel around the table before it gets back to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the amount of time you're not playing versus the amount of time you are playing increases, right?
Yes.
Which then really wears against attention, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, not saying you shouldn't split the party. I'm saying things you have to account for when you split the party. Okay.
Correct.
Now, flip to the other side of the screen.
Yep.
Same thing, Spotlight. As soon as you split the party, you cannot run both parties simultaneously, obviously.
Yes.
Right? That's hence where Spotlight comes from. But now the GM has to maintain 2 scenes.
Yes.
Yep.
Like
two parallel
threads.
Yeah,
are
2
now
threads.
occurring.
Correct.
Yes.
And has to switch between threads cognitively, right? So one,
Yes.
RAM has gone up because you now have to load both threads into RAM.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And processor's gone up because you now have to process 2 threads.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you get to the Urban Shadows problem, you have now loaded 5
threads.
5 threads into RAM, 5 threads that you're processing. It's a lot.
Yes.
I stopped playing my Amber Diceless game when I was in grad school right before my qualifying exams because it was cognitively too much work to prep and run compared to the work that I had to do for my qualifying exam.
Yeah.
I literally ended my campaign in time to study for my qualifying exams.
Yep.
Because, and go back to it, we were just talking about Spotlight at the table, but if your game has a low party cohesion, you are prepping that in a traditional game. In a more modern game, you probably don't have to prep it as much. You still have to deal with it at the table.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Still cognitive load. Yep.
Again, not saying you shouldn't do these things. We're saying that there are consequences for doing them.
Hey, Project GCH, how's it going?
All right. And again, anytime we point out a problem, we like to point out solutions or tips. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to now flip over and give some tips to how to handle all 4 of those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So our resource problem. What can we do?
Yeah. The first thing is scale the encounters. And that might mean scaling them on the fly, right? If you didn't anticipate, you're like, "Ooh, they just
one of the weirdest problems
split
ever."
the party." Okay, there are now half as many goblins in that room.
What's going on?
Because there's half as many people walking in there. Or there's a third as many because I know they don't have any area effect stuff with them. Right?
I don't even need the minions. I'll just keep the ogre in there. The ogre's more than enough to. The ogre's more than enough. They don't need an ogre and a bunch of goblins for the scene.
Just scratch the goblins. We just got an ogre.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
Easy peasy.
Just, you can make changes on the fly. I know that this tip is hard because for me personally, trying to correctly scale a D&D encounter to begin with has always been challenging to try to get it to hit the sweet spot. So it's easier to reel it back, right?
Yep. I will say that this is definitely a skills issue, right? If you are proficient,
yes,
if you have a high
100%.
degree of proficiency and understand the game mechanics,
100%.
This adjustment is much easier.
Both a furry and Christian get the best of both and the worst of both. Okay, I get that. Absolutely.
Game mechanics,
100%.
This adjustment is much easier.
So easy. Yeah, this is 100% a skill issue for me, just to be clear.
It's a skill issue, I think, for any GM, right? Like, the more you understand the mechanics of the game, the more you understand how mathematically the character, like how combat works as a game of attrition, the quicker you can make those on-the-fly adjustments.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say that goes with this that helps to mitigate this problem is alternate resources.
Yep. Right? Which is one of those other things we were talking about.
Hand out the healing potions, wand of fireballs,
wands, healing,
amulet of trap detection, whatever it is. If you can provide the split party it doesn't have to be equal resources, but some resources, you have increased their survivability.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And again, that only applies to games where access to party resources is important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is, again, where this saying comes from to begin with.
If your superhero game doesn't have this problem, then you don't have to solve for this problem.
You don't have to solve it. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Tell me about
story issues. Schrodinger's, man. This is where you go to Schrodinger's, right? The players want to split, and Bob's character is going to the west. Well, that's where Bob's uncle is. Even if it wasn't, that's where he is now, right?
That's where he is now. Yep. Schrodinger's plot that nonsense.
You just Schrodinger's plot that thing. You're fine.
Yep.
It's an easy fix. It requires you may have to do a couple quick continuity things in your head to get it straightened out. But the fastest way to solve that problem is to simply just put the necessary pieces in the correct place, right?
Yep. Wherever people are going, that's where their plot things are.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Easy fix. I don't know if I have another one for that one. I do if it's prep based, right? Like if you get to the end of a session and people are like, yeah, next week we're going to split the party. Oh, well, then that's fucking easy. I'm just going to prep for that. Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm talking about at the, solving this problem as it's unfolding in the middle of the table.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So Schrodinger's is one of my favorite tools for that. I used to abuse that tool quite a bit, but in a pinch, Schrodinger's plot, Schrodinger's character, whatever, totally works.
Which is also part of a dilemma, right? Let me just fix TikTok over here quick. And it looks like we're hitting an ad over on the Twitch, so I'm just gonna hold on a second. But yeah, there's a dilemma that is about okay, if you have two paths and no matter what paths your players choose, you're going to have them fight the ogre, right? So they could go up the mountain or along the side of the mountain. Either way, they're going to fight the ogre. Then do the players really have a choice? And they'll get there the same amount of time, the same plot points will still happen, but do they have a choice? Absolutely. So Project GCH currently developing the AI assistant. Yep, that runs offline. That's very cool. And locally, that's helpful to help you work. Absolutely. I'm 100% for developing tools to help you work. I develop a ton of tools to help myself work as well, including the social bridge and whatnot. So very helpful there.
It totally, yeah. It is okay to engage it, and when you
nobody
need
else knows. Just Of course you want Bob to encounter his uncle.
Right.
Like,
and realistically, Bob also wants to encounter his uncle.
Yes.
He got a job
Right?
offer.
Like,
That's cool.
that's the better story.
I
right?
mean, unless you're like, look, we're playing a completely deterministic game where just like decisions are the only thing that matters, and wonky things can happen in the game because of it. Cool. If that's your game, don't fucking Schrodinger's it.
Yeah, if that's your expectation.
But
with
if
the
you're
players,
playing to drama, you're playing to genre, like just move Bob's uncle to the other side, from the east to the west. But
move it around.
Problem
Just
solved.
Move it around.
Yeah, problem solved.
Yep.
All right, player attention.
Yep.
The player side.
The player side. I'll do my best. Cool. Spotlight management. So this is, you one of the best ways to keep player attention is by keeping them engaged in the game and asking them to keep taking action. So we have whole episodes about spotlight management.
Many people have talked about
probably more than one. So this is a whole skill of GMing, is making sure that you have that spotlight management and it's moving fast enough and effectively enough between people that everybody feels like they've really gotten a chance to do something meaningful.
Yep.
But nobody else is sitting there for so long that they get bored or checked out.
Right. A couple quick tips to this, right?
Yep.
The more threads you have, the shorter each personal scene has to be.
Correct.
Which means you just have to start going around the table.
Just go faster. Just cut them shorter. And it is just to be 100% clear, it is okay to cut them on a cliffhanger, right? It is okay to be like.
Now, before we get to the Rendescenda statement, like, think soap operas, right? Soap operas. If you've watched one in the past, you probably watched all of them anyway, because they're all relatively the same sort of formula. They have incredibly short scenes, and snippets that hop back and forth between a bunch of things. And a lot of times there are threads between multiple scenes that eventually connect and weave together, right? But soap operas have that, and of course it's the the Dragon Ball Z fight mentality of every given scene it's going to take 500 episodes to accomplish, but soap operas weave that thing brilliantly because they kind of have to, right? You're trying to put out a daily episode and film as fast as possible, and sometimes they're writing right up to the filming point, and even probably past filming start, and getting through all of that and having it be cohesive. Wildly enough, soap operas are very much like real life acting TTRPGs, I guess, where the writers are the characters and the GMs at the same time that are writing this story on the fly, super improv but kind of plotting where they're supposed to. It's a really interesting thought. I don't know, that might be an interesting topic for the pandas, media literacy, in terms of how certain things are put together and how that translates into how you can put certain games together. I don't know. There's something there. Something interesting there.
Yes, you reach forward into the darkness and we will find out what you see in just a second. Boom.
Do a thing, make a roll, resolve the roll, move on. Come back around in a minute.
Yep.
That's one.
Not a problem.
The other one is, of course...
Hey, if you want to chat about the thing that's troubling you, feel free to reach out to me via DM. I would be more than happy to chat with you about anything. And if I've got advice for you, you know what? I can give you some advice. So give you permission to throw a DM my way if you want to talk about whatever that might be troubling you. Because I have thoughts about all sorts of things, and who knows? It might help. Otherwise, have an excellent rest of your day, President GCH, and hopefully the thunderstorm treats you well over there. Should you publish your AI assistant thing? That's a good question. I mean, if it's helpful to you, it could be helpful to others, right? Is it something that could be utilized in nefarious ways potentially? That's something you might want to lock down before you throw it out there. But like if it's handling basic stuff and it's relatively predictable, I think it should be safe enough, honestly.
So the other one is, of course, players can pull other people into scenes.
Yep.
Right. That can help reduce the number of threads.
Yeah, not a problem. Stay safe. Take care. And we'll see you some other time.
Yes.
Players can do that themselves. It doesn't have to be just the GMs that do that. So you can, like if the table's like, oh, we're all off doing our own thing, and it comes around to Jerry, and Jerry's like, you know what? I think I'm going to give Bob a call, and we're going to like go have a conversation. Okay, well, now one of my threads just went down.
Right. Yeah, because I've combined.
Bob and Jerry are now in one.
They're in one
Jerry
thread.
just did me a favor. We're down to 4 threads.
Yep. Love it.
Okay, so that's the other one. The other one, I'm sorry, I misspelled it when I was writing it. The other one is on deck, right?
Yeah.
So as a GM, I will, if we're running many threads, I will call out who's coming up in the rotation, right? So it's like, okay, Jerry, go ahead and make your roll. Bob, you're on deck for like next. I'm going to cut to you right after this, right? So What that does is it helps retain attention, because if I call you before your turn, right, then you begin to re-engage mentally, and by the time I switch to you, you're there.
Yep.
Right.
And it also means that you're not like, oh, now's a great time to run off to the bathroom, or like,
right. It's like that thing when I'm at the traffic light and my car turns its own engine off now. Right. If I want to go quick off the traffic light, right, I will like lift up my foot on the brake or press the brake for a second to wake the car back up so that when the light turns green, I can go.
Go.
Yeah.
And they don't have the second for the car to turn its engine back on. Yeah.
So that on deck thing, and it sounds trivial, but I assure you that saying somebody's name and the phrase "you're next" re-engages people's attention.
Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It helps a lot when you're doing it. Okay. The cognitive load.
Yep, the cognitive load.
Look, I only got one answer for this. It's just practice. You can learn to do this. It'll seem hard if you've never had to do it before. It is a learned skill. The more times you do it, especially if you get into a game where you have to do it all the time, the more proficient you will get at holding multiple threads, switching between threads, all of that stuff. Is it tiring? Sure. It'll still be tiring at times, but you will just get better at doing it.
And like any muscle, you flex that skill more and more. It will flex that muscle-ish, I say muscle with quotes, heavy quotes, in your brain to allow you to kind of not get as fatigued every time you do something like that. That cognitive load is less wearying as you go on.
Yeah. And you get to know what you might need to do to support yourself in that, right?
Yeah.
Like there are times when I will just like, I'm going, at a con game with 6 people when things are running really fast, right? I might jot myself a note of something really important that I need to make sure comes up in somebody's scene, that it's going to take me 4 more people to get back to them, right? Yeah. Like that kind of thing. So like you also just learn the things that you might do to help yourself. And what's tricky about those things is they're probably a little bit different for everybody. For me, I have to jot things down specifically because I have ADHD. I forgot to pick up my groceries yesterday.
Yep.
Groceries that they texted me about that I knew I was going to pick up. They texted me that they were done. I said, cool, I'll do that in a couple of minutes. And I never went and got them.
Oh, no.
So you might do something like on your side of the table, behind your screen or whatever. You might put down a Post-it note for each player so that when you write a note, you're writing it to each player.
Yep.
Right? Like, like this note is for Bob, this note is for Jerry. And that way, when you swing back around and you look at that Post-it note, It's it's right there.
That's very, very organized. For me, I just get a sloppy note in a notebook that's just like has a big old star next to it. Might not even have a player name with it, right?
Now there are cases,
whatever works for you.
There are cases where you can prep for this. So, like for instance, in my Blades in the Dark game, which is now crossed over the year threshold, so I consider it a resounding success.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had shorter
campaigns.
games that have been successes, but I really I'm proud when they hit the 1 year mark.
Sure.
Every 4 or 5 scores, we switch up and we do a free play night where there's no score, there's no downtime. We just play out a 2-scene individual scene for every player.
Oh, that's nice.
I even let them cross over with each other, but I still each give them their own scene because it's just assumed like all of these scenes happened over a course of a couple weeks. So like if Jim is in Jerry's scene, Jim still also gets his own scene.
Right. He can't. He has enough time that he can't. He doesn't have to decide between following his.
They're not all happening on the same night, right? They're happening at different times.
Yeah.
So I prepped that game. I prepped that game for, I know going in, this is going to be a 5-player, 5-thread night.
Yep.
And so I build my notes exactly like that. So I have my notes. I will have a section for each player, and then their A scene and their B scene.
Yeah.
And I have an order that I set, usually it's the table order, but sometimes I just pick a person then, clockwise around the table or counterclockwise, whatever, it depends on my mood. But I have an order. And so I'll start the evening by saying, okay, here's the order for tonight. I'm going to start with Bob. We're going to go counterclockwise around the table, ending with Glenn. All right. And then everybody gets their A scene all the way around the table. Mm-hmm. And then we usually take a break. And then I do everybody's B scene and we go around the table. Mm-hmm. And it's nice and orderly. Everybody knows their spot. If people want to check out, they're welcome to. They often don't, and often will jump in for things like offering ideas for devil's bargains and things like that. But if they want to, they can check out. This is that slice of the game for them that night is their personal character.
Quite the sneeze there. Sorry about that.
So I don't fret over it, and I don't sweat it if people are a little drifty in between them. It's fine because that's the whole purpose for the night.
Yeah. Now,
if I'm running my game, we're in the middle of a score and I have to split up, then I will be faster.
Yeah.
Cutting back and forth. But for this particular night, I prepped the game to be 2 rounds of scenes.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that.
Yep.
Everybody goes in knowing that's how the game's being structured for the evening.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that is sort of a game that is somewhat party based. Yeah.
Oh, for the scores, it's 100% party based, which is why this particular these one-offs are distinct, they're distinct and they're not, because what happens is during the party one, most of the focus of the game, the table play is for the score.
Yep.
And we don't really get a lot of extra character development. We get character development, but not dedicated character development. So what's really nice is doing these free plays is that every 4 or 5 scores, we're like, oh, cool, let's take a break from score. Let's change the beat, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just get into these characters. Let's get into personal messy stuff. And sometimes that personal messy stuff will cross back over. It might be the source of a future score where somebody has to come in and be like, hey, I was doing this thing and now I, need the crew to help me. I need the crew to do this score. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't have anything else to do with anybody else but that character. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little bit of prep and a little bit of expectation management handles that actually really well.
Yeah. Okay.
So, cool.
Good. I guess, is there anything else we want to say about splitting the party?
Splitting the party's fine. Splitting the party's fine. You'll know if it's not. The game. If it's not, we've given you some hints on how to figure it out. For the games where it's not fine, do some extra mitigations for some of the things we're talked about, and don't be afraid of it. It happens, and it can be useful, can be realistic to the players, right? Sometimes the story demands it.
Yeah.
So be prepared for it. As a GM, start practicing, right? Work in some sessions where you're going to do some like purposeful splitting of the party so that you can get the practice in. And then that way, when they do it on the fly, you'll just be like, oh, all right, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to do this like I'm bragging, but like today, I'm comfortable enough that if the players split up in a game, I'm like, okay, like,
no problem.
no problem. Like, here's what we're going to do. Let's cover you, and then you guys, and then I'm off and running. But I wasn't always that way. Had to grow. I had to skill up into that.
And one situation I can think of where you might want to split the party as a GM is if you are playing in kind of like a horror scenario, especially like getting closer to the month of October. A lot of people like to play special sessions or special games, or put their like campaign group through a special one shot or whatever, and add those horror elements. And one of the big tropes of horror is the party's getting split, and now everything is way more dangerous. So it can definitely up the stakes splitting the party, especially splitting the party when it wasn't expected to split the party, for sure. But that's kind of all part of that prep, right? The prep of the game itself. Like, you're going to know that you're going to be splitting the party after a certain point to kind of throw them off or make things more tense. But that's just something that you account for during those sort of situations, and really interesting ways to mitigate and get yourself in the right mindset for a split party in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's one other thing we might not have touched on in all of this, which is, as a GM, it's not my goal to murder my party members, right?
Yep.
So that means that...
I mean, depending on the game. Playing Paranoia, I might be murdering you guys.
Okay. I mean, maybe. As what I should say maybe is, as a general rule...
Sure.
No, I've got it better, actually. I don't see my role, personally, as a GM... to be adversarial to the players.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think that's a whole conversation.
It is a whole thing, and I think we've had it before. But I do think it's also important to mention from the perspective of splitting the party, because I do think if you have an adversarial relationship with the GM as players at the table, that could influence your decision about whether splitting the party is a good idea or not.
Sure. I think that, I mean, look, any mistake will get you in trouble at that point, right? So,
well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you have an adversarial GM, I don't know if half of our advice holds up.
That's part of the reason I just wanted to mention it, right? Like, I think we tend to give advice on the assumption that you're not at odds, right? That you're both actually trying to just have fun together, and that you're not specifically fighting to keep your characters alive while your GM is actively trying to kill you.
I think if your GM's actively trying to kill you, they probably already won.
Right. I mean, the problem is that rocks fall, you die can happen, whatever, because the GM's in charge of the world, right?
Yeah, so if the GM isn't winning, the GM isn't trying hard enough. I don't know what else to tell you.
So anyway, I guess that may also be something to take into consideration.
Sure. I guess the takeaway from that is, like, don't play with adversarial GMs.
But, like, I mean, that is kind of, that's the tip on that is maybe
I'm not budging on that one. Don't play with adversarial GMs. I did it when I was in the A80s. It wasn't as much fun. Fuck it. No. Just don't do it.
Don't play with adversarial GMs. Maybe don't be an adversarial GM. It's a lot more fun.
If you're an adversarial GM, you've already got to evolve out of that. Okay.
And also, we have a whole show of things that could help you with that. 10 years of advice.
Like to think that, yeah. Anyway, yes, I guess everything predicated on, not being an adversarial or jackass or whatever.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
But I think that holds true across the board. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, I think we're pretty much done. I feel like we're done.
Yeah.
All right, that's our thoughts on splitting the party. Thoughts are yes.
Sure, why not?
With a little thoughtfulness.
Yeah.
Cool. All righty. Senda, tell me about another show on the Polygamers Network, and then we'll roll on out of here.
Yeah. On the Polygamers Network, you could also be listening to The Heroes of Havel's Way. If you are looking for an epic fantasy adventure with two best friends and their raccoon pal, that seems like a small party to split. Do you think they split it? I don't think they split that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the raccoon goes off and does some stuff. Maybe garbage quests and stuff like that.
Garbage quest.
Is this the origin of Jimothy?
Y'all done garbage quests yet? Okay, anyway. You can join Aramon the Dreaming Paladin and Odie the Starlight Druid as they travel the barony of Castican to fight dirt. And it sounds like the raccoon is maybe the best. His name is Monty. He talks and he loves baked goods. So, talking animals, let's go.
Yeah, garbage quest.
Garbage quest. Garbage quest!
All right, say Senda, where do people find us on the internet?
Yeah, you can find us at polygamerous/panda. It's polygamero.us/panda. That has all the different ways you can connect with us. Especially since we somehow still haven't fixed our Patreon. So that's my apologies. I have a big old backlog.
Memo from management. You got to stop mentioning that we haven't fixed it. It just keeps bringing it up that we haven't fixed it.
Well, the problem is that it means that nobody's getting their bonus episodes right now.
Okay, well, we're sorry we haven't fixed the Patreon.
I've got to chase down why this disconnect is still occurring. But anyway, moving right along. That has all the different ways you can contact us. And once you have contacted us, what can you do with that information?
Yeah, by all means, use that information to send us a message. Drop us a line, DM us, whatever. Send us an old-fashioned email and ask us a question, just like Michael did today. Don't worry about being too spot on. We'll make it into a topic. We're pretty good at it after 10 years.
Yep.
So just send us what's on your mind and let us go to work. And then hopefully we'll apply our saged wisdom and knowledge to your query or problem and come up with some what's going on and what to do about it kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Cool. If you like what we do here elsewhere on the Polygamers Network, consider checking out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/MMP. Get access to the Slack Room for Life. Awesome folks. A direct line to us if that's the kind of thing that you might be interested in. We're there. I will pop. I don't even pop in. I have Slack open all the time. If you at me, if you DM me, whatever, I will see it.
Yep. So, most reliable connection point.
Yeah, most reliable.
Very reliable. Yep.
Cool. So do that, and also meet the other people of the Slack room. They're a plenty dandy bunch as well. Cool. If you are supporting our Patreon, thank you very much. It does actually cost some monies to make this thing go, and your monies help this thing to go. So thank you very much for your support. If you're unable to support us, there's still a thing you can do. It is actually incredibly helpful for us, and it just uses a little bit
at a family
of your
function.
Valuable time.
That was me yesterday. How's it going? Are you having fun?
But it goes a long way, and it's helped other people already who are listening to this podcast. What is that thing?
Yeah, you can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcast or the podcatcher of your choice, wherever you're listening to the show right now. Those really do actually help us filter up to the top a little bit more when people go hunting for a show like this. But you can also just tell a friend, and we really appreciate that. We actually know that works better. So when you stumble across someone on, your social media of choice, Blue Sky, I don't know, Tumblr? Where are people these days? Discord.
People still use Tumblr,
somebody
right?
says, I'm looking for a system agnostic. They might not say it right like this, right? But I'm looking for a system agnostic talkie show about RPGs, and you think, boy, they might really like pandas. We really appreciate it when you throw our name out there.
Yeah.
Indeed. Alrighty. Say Senda. Which problem do you want to handle with Aveline, and which problem do you want to send the rest of your crew off to solve?
Whew, good question.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
Okay, so we gotta. What you got?
The AC kicked on while we were recording.
Okay, so now I gotta pull these little outtakes out. We're gonna end of episode here-ish. Yeah, so lovely to have you here, Moon, for the last little bits of my afternoon stream. We're going to be finishing up this episode in a little bit, probably another 5 minutes or so. It's my guess. Sakuna, welcome. How are things going? Good to see you again. And then I get to take a little bit of a break after that because I've got my 7 p.m. Central U.S. time event tonight with my Minecraft Hardcore World. I don't know if I'm going to go as long as last time. Maybe I will. I did 4.5 hours yesterday, which is a ridiculous amount of hours for a stream. But you know what? I survived. I was relatively comfortable. Only a little bit of a neck ache afterwards, so I'm not terribly upset about that. A little bit of Advil and a bike ride today helped get rid of that for me. But yeah, I'm doing very well otherwise, Sukuna. I am just excited about all the stuff I've got coming up. I've got a couple weeks of weird potential extra stream time, which I am thrilled about. So once I get those details locked down, I'm going to post some like impromptu events onto my Twitch. And then those events will get kind of dispersed on my social medias over the next couple of weeks. I have a lot of stuff that I need to kind of figure out because like half the time my TikTok doesn't send chats to my social bridge, so I miss some of the chats, unfortunately, or people on the Twitch can't see what's happening on the bridge, all that sort of stuff. I think I fixed one thing, Moon. Let's see. It's Moon can clip. Let's just test it again, because like, why not? Everybody, I like Moon's streams.
Oh, look at me go. Oh my gosh.
I think she's dancing.
She's definitely white. No, I'm just kidding. I'm white, so I can say that.
That's funny. Moon is a fantastic streamer over on the Twitch. And she does a lot of like cozy, family-friendly sort of stuff. Definitely a vibe that I can appreciate. So I'm really glad that that clip thing is working now. So I think my social bridge is just in a little bit of TLC. So I've got a little bit of work there to kind of get that fixed. But that's going to be over the next few days. After this stream, I'm planning to kind of look into setting up or finishing setting up my secondary PC as my streamer PC, where it grabs all of the stuff it needs from my primary PC and does the encoding for me to both Twitch and TikTok. If I get that working, I might be able to even add YouTube live streaming potentially and have YouTube folks join the chat. But I don't think I'm ready for that sort of responsibility quite yet. YouTube can be a minefield of individuals, from what I understand. And so, we'll see. I'm not entirely there. Looks like some folks over on the Twitch might be getting an ad starting soon. So hopefully they can bear with me a little bit. I do have the ending to toss in here, so I'm going to do that quick. It looks like we should be fine to just kind of melt this in here and have Senda's voice just kind of...
Rest of your crew off to solve.
Ooh, good question.
There we go. That sounds fine. And then we're going to put the outtakes at the end here. So yeah, interesting episode today. Talking all about the joys of This is the same thing. This is the ending, right? It is. I don't know why I put a little thing there. The joys of splitting the party in TTRPGs, the do's and don'ts, and like different play styles in different games that cover that. It was really interesting. Of course, I had plenty of thoughts, and also the ultimate split the party is apparently soap operas and telenovelas, in my opinion, because they constantly have different scenes with different main characters, and they're constantly swapping back and forth, and telling a cohesive story and ramping up the drama all the time, and kind of getting all of those weaved together. It's really interesting. And they have to do it so fast too, like every day. It's wild. This is the outtakes. This is the end. The only end, my friend. That's a reference to an old song for those in the know. And we are going to export this episode here real quick. And that way I can have it, and then I'll show you how I kind of squish the audio together. Which I've done a few times on the stream before, but like, I'm happy that this export doesn't take that long at all on this machine. So now that we got the actual WAV file, all of this is kind of out here, but there's like little gaps that are in there. So we're going to go ahead and scan those gaps and shorten everything that is less than, or everything that is more than 0.6 seconds long of silence. It's going to short those silence gaps to 0.6 seconds. I did 0.5 the first time I did editing, but it felt too unnaturally fast. That extra tenth of a second really adds a bunch of realistic pause to the conversation, where it doesn't feel too fast, it doesn't feel too slow. And when you have all of them like that, it works out really well. So, and it's really easy and fast, so why not? And then all I have to do is pull that into my batch process, which converts my WAV file, which is uncompressed audio, into a MP3 file, which is what gets served to you, the masses, in the podcast players. So that only takes a few seconds as well. It looks like we ended up with a 54-minute episode, which is pretty perfect. And then I can just right click on this guy here and get to the media in my Explorer window, which is over on my other monitor, so you can't really see that. But then I can pull that right into the completed episodes folder, and we're good to go there. Now, one thing that I normally do as well is listen to and edit the Bamboo Lounge. But since that is bonus content coming up, I think I'm just going to site edit. So I'm looking for all the little blips and bloops and like breathing sounds that look all weird. Not worried as much about ums and uhs in this portion of things. So I'm just getting rid of all of the visible noise that shows up in here. So this I can do really fast because I know kind of what looks like noise and what doesn't, especially when I'm used to the cadence of Phil and Senda's speech patterns, which is lovely. And if I accidentally cut out something that was not an or an ah, it won't break the flow of conversation too much because it's usually like one of those social agreement things like, yep, yeah, mm-hmm, sort of deals. And I'm not too worried about that. The active listening sounds, that's what it's called. And that's fine. I think it's looking good though. Should be just a little bit of some stuff here. There we go. Okay, that's all. Just get rid of that little squeak at the end there. Senda happened to have forgotten to check her microphone input for this recording, a second recording in a row. And we have a little bit worse mic quality because of it, because Audacity has the audacity to do that sometimes where it's like, hey, I know better. I know what you need. You need your webcam microphone to record this audio instead of your really good XLR microphone. So what do you think about that? And then you just say, hey, stop it. So this is the lounge. And we're just going to export this as well, all the way to the end. Where are we? Lounge, Bamboo Lounge. And that's a .wave. Get that exported. And where are you? Bamboo Lounge. We will also pull that into the batch process. No, actually, I lied. First, I have to go to the lounge and do that same detect silence bit. Shorten that up. Looks good. Save that. And now I can run the batch process. Convert that wave into an MP3 and we're good to go. So that is my workflow for a talkie show. Like if this were an actual play that I needed to do sound effects and music, that was just the dialogue editing. Now I would have to go back over. I would have had placed a whole bunch of markers throughout to figure out, hey, this is where this sort of sound effect goes and so on and so forth. But thankfully we don't have to do that for Pandas, which makes it a very relaxing edit, in my opinion. I think that should be good. I can pull in the lounge one as well to the completed episodes. I think I will. I'm going to move them there. Good to go. Perfect. Okay, what time do we got? It's 2 o'clock right now. I think what I need to do is I need to go and get cat food for my cats. They're running really low on their dry food. So I want to make sure that they have some fresh food going forward. So I'm going to go and run that errand. Do I need anything else? I guess that's a really good question. I'll have to see if I have to run more errands or not. But what that means is I'm going to be signing off for the day. So folks that are here, lovely to have seen you. Moon, if you are still here, hopefully you have an excellent rest of your time at your family function. That sounds like a blast. Would love to hear about that later. And let's see, what else? 7 o'clock tonight. So T-minus 5 hours from now, I start my hardcore Minecraft realm again. I think my son's probably going to join me again because I don't think he can stop himself. But, you know, Nana is the arbiter of things, but she lets him get away with whatever because she's the grandma, and that's what grandmas do. Although I don't think my mom would appreciate me calling her a grandma instead of a Nana. So we'll go there. Anyway, I have a lozenge waiting for me to help my throat and my speaking abilities for later tonight so we can kind of pace ourselves. But I have been your host, Lord Neptune. It was a pleasure to see you all, pleasure to talk with everybody, pleasure to edit Panda's Talking Games for you, and to pull in myself as a third wheel into their conversation. So if you enjoy this sort of content, meet me back here next week, Sunday, and you'll see this all again right around the same time for a different topic with Pandas. And if not Pandas, then we'll be doing some sound design for an actual show, and kind of go from there. Then tonight we've got Minecraft Hardcore in about 5 hours. And then tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Daylight Time, whatever time we're in, Central U.S. time, that's what we'll say. We're going to be doing more Minecraft Hardcore. It's going to be just me for sure because my kids will be in bed 100% by then. And then Wednesday, another Minecraft. There's a lot of Minecraft Hardcore. Can you tell I'm enjoying myself in my hardcore world? Building my underwater base. It's really cool. I'm about to expand to the second island for the first time. So we just got a bridge, a glass bridge built through the water in a giant crevasse, and we connected with the next underwater island. And I'm about to go in there and start hollowing that out a little bit and creating a place to have my cow farm. And then we're going to have to figure out a way, how do we get cows in there? So that should be a treat as well. So join me for that. Outside of that, Thursday is going to be Hightail Day, where we are going to be kind of exploring the latest versions of Hightail and trying to get to that 200 memory mark. So we've got a lot of exploring to do, a lot of things to find, and hopefully we can find something relatively quick there. Oh, Chicken, welcome. Thank you for the likes. Hopefully you're having an excellent day. I am just in the process of signing off for the day, but I will be back later this evening. So if you want to step back in after your day and watch me play some Minecraft, feel free to drop on in for that. I think that would be lovely to see you again. For now, let's pop the social bridge over here. Let's turn up the tunes a little bit. Folks, thanks for joining me. Have an excellent rest of your afternoon. Hopefully we'll see you this evening. If I don't, either way, take care, stay safe, drink plenty of water, and you know what? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.